So I usually get quite a lot of messages on my social media about literally how do I create a print of my artwork. And so what I thought might be useful is to show you at least my process of how I do that. So what I'm going to try and do today is literally go from beginning to end of how I make my prints. So my website is connected to Shopify, and that is what I use to take payments basically for the prints that come through. So then I will come in here and go on my app, which will show me how many sales we've done and what has been ordered. And that is connected up to my printers. So as soon as I get an order that comes in, Shopify will send that print order through to my printers. So I don't need to do anything but then go and pick that order up from the printers. Shopify, by the way, you definitely want to use those because they give you metrics and statistics about where your traffic is coming from, so you can kind of track as to like what is working and what isn't when you're actually selling your pieces. Just before I go to the printers, I would pick up my trusty folder, and this basically just means that I can keep all my prints nice and flat when I go and pick them up, as opposed to like the printers like rolling them up and stuff before they then go in tubes. So this little bad boy will come with us, and then we are off to the printers. When you're producing a print, there are different levels of paper. I use a archival paper, which is like a much higher standard of print. And to be able to print onto that paper, you have to have a certain level of printer. And so hence I use Blue Sky Printing because they have both of those things. Okay, so back from the printers, and we have all 20 prints here that have been made from our latest sale on the website. I'll get this, was it like tissue-ish paper or whatever you call it? That's so that so that when the print rubs on the back of one another, that the ink doesn't come off, because there's so much ink on these archival prints. There we go. So what I'd have here is obviously a print that will come out. Then what I would do is put my paperweights in each of the corners so that we're flat. And then once we're in this position, I would then just sign the painting. So I use Posca, I think that's called, Posca pen. And I'll be signing on that just because I found that with other pens, this is basically like writing in pen, but with other pens, because the archival paper is so thick, I was finding it very difficult to actually write my signature on it. So if you get yourself one of these, it is a 0.7mm tip, and that is the pen that I use to sign things with. So I've just signed the first print. I've been through a lot of different printers, and I never thought that the quality of the paper that you use really mattered that much. But when you see archival paper and you see how thick it is, I mean, it's difficult to really tell on camera, but the thickness of this paper and the quality means that in sunlight, if this was left out in sunlight, it wouldn't be affected half as much as if it was just on like normal paper sort of thing. The next thing is to roll this up and get it in one of my tubes. So I just flipped over the print just to go with the roll. Oh, what you want to do is you want to roll it tight enough that it will get in the tube, but you don't want to roll it too tight that you leave creases in the actual paper. So there is a bit of an art to it. Over like that. We grab our little sticker, we go across the middle, and that will keep that down. Cool, so that's that. And then just on the ends, you just want to tuck those in, so just to make things a little bit too neat. If it's too much tissue paper at the end, you can always just use the scissors and take a little bit off. So you're left with something that looks a little bit like that. And then we want to bubble wrap that before that goes into the tube, just to give it that extra bit of protection when it travels. So that will go there. We're then going to roll again. And again, just pop in that sticker just in the middle there, just to make it nice. You end up with something that looks like that. So something a little neater than it originally started off like. What I tend to do is add a bit of cushion into the bottom of the tube. So I'll pop that in. Then we pop our print in, like so. Then we pop a little business card in, just with my details on it, just in case you do want to get in touch and you haven't got it to hand. So that just pops in there like so. Then I will grab another bit of bubble wrap. So we've got our tube. I'll just then pop a little bit of tissue, a bit of bubble wrap just on top there, and then that will go on the lid there. A mistake that I made in the beginning was getting tubes that were too thin. So you can sometimes think that buying a really cheap tube, yes, it will save you money, but what I found that in the post, that they were getting crushed, they would get ripped apart, and so actually paying for this tube is like really solid. There's no way you're kind of getting through that unless you really want to damage it. I spent quite a lot of time going through different suppliers of tubes just because I wanted something that looked aesthetically a little bit better. When you open a print, it's about the whole experience. So it's not about just the print, it's like the packaging, like the little message inside, like all of that kind of feeds into what I would deem as a kind of premium product. My supplier of tubes is a company called Crayford Tubes. So that's where I get these from. In terms of sourcing a supplier, I would ask for some samples because what you see on their website and what actually turns up can often be two very different things. If you have like this style of content, then please do let me know in the comments because it's really helpful in terms of letting me know what you guys like and what you want to see more of, basically. Or alternatively, if you want to see more of what goes on behind the scenes, then definitely tune into Art of the Hustle, which is my vlog series. If you go there, it would be just there, up in the corner there, and you can see more of what goes on behind the scenes.